Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Diogo. Let me introduce you to my team. This is Luis, Mateus, Roberto, and Bruno. We are here to present a new way to make biofuel. But you've been here listening today to many proposals. So first of all, we have some questions for you. What makes us different than them? Why you use the same feedstock as everyone and process? Why don't we make something new, something cheaper, something better? Why don't we make it in our way? We are Bioway, biofuel from waste for aviation. This is the agenda with the main topics we're going to cover in this presentation. We're going to go over the motivation why to use aviation biofuel in the industry. Then we're going to go to the project overview, feedstocks and programs, process and productions, logistics, research and development, budget, schedule, and outcomes, and conclusions. Why aviation biofuel? The biofuel is a type of fuel that is more environmentally friendly than fossil fuels. Other than that, with the biofuel, we can diversify the source of conventional jet fuel. Since the biofuel comes from renewable sources, we can improve reliability of supply and reduce the volatility of the jet fuel price. Our project is to use municipal solid waste in order to produce aviation biofuel. In order to do so, we're going to use a new innovative process in which we're going to integrate the technology from two major companies in the area, Abengoa and Emery's. The whole project has 3 phases, and Bioway consists in the first phase. In this first phase, we're going to have a pilot plant in which we're going to produce aviation biofuel to test it in university laboratory. In the second phase, we're going to build a demonstration plant to produce aviation biofuel to run some flight tests. In the third and last phase, we're going to have a commercial plant in which we're going to produce aviation biofuel in a commercial scale. We're also going to have social programs and research and development in partnership with the Federal University of Pará, UFPA. We decided to choose a city called Belém in North Region, Brazil, because it has the 13th biggest airport in Brazil, and also the waste management has become a huge problem in the area. The waste production in Belém metro area is about 1,600 tons per day. All this waste go to a landfill called Aterro Sanitário Aurá, located outside Belém metro area. And this waste includes medical waste, home waste, and industrial waste. And this waste is deposited there without any kind of treatment and separation. In this landfill, there are 1,500 people that work collecting recyclable items and selling them to recyclable refineries. 230 of them are children that are not going to school. Unfortunately, those people have bad education and their working and living conditions are poor because they have direct contact with the waste. With that in mind, Bioway decided to create a social program called Do Lixo para a Vida, which means from waste to life, in which we're going to improve health and education for those people. We're also going to give them professional training so they can work with us when we have our commercial refinery. In many parts of Belém, the waste is not being collected the best way because the infrastructure of the public roads are poor. And also, another problem in the city is that Belém's population is not used to separate the waste in their houses, and compostable waste and recyclable waste go together to the landfill and are disposed there. Because of that, we decided to create another program called Clean City, Beautiful City, in Portuguese, Cidade Limpa, Cidade Bonita. And the main objectives of this program are we're going to improve the infrastructure of the city of Belém, of the public roads, and we're also going to give the population of Belém environmental education on how to separate the waste in their houses. Now, to explain to you how the biofuels produce, our expert in the process, Matteo, is going to talk about.
Thanks, Diogo, for tonight's introduction. So, we chose municipal solid waste as our feedstock because it has some features that make it the best option to produce jet biofuel. And I can give you 3 reasons for that. First, it has an everlasting availability. Second, it has an inexpensive production. And third, it has environmental and social aspects rooted in it. We can say that it has an everlasting availability because every household all over the globe, in either small or big cities, produces huge amounts of waste every day. In fact, an average person produces more than 4 pounds of waste every day. We can say that it has an inexpensive production because it doesn't require high costs in cultivation and exploration like other kinds of fuel do, like the conventional fossil fuel and the biofuel from sugarcane or palm oil. And lastly, as Diogo mentioned, there are many environmental and social problems related to the property card of waste on landfills, especially in Brazil. For this reason, many researches have been developed in the last decades in order to create, improve, and certificate new technologies to make the conversion of municipal solid waste into jet biofuel. As an application of those technologies in the aviation industry, recently the British Airways has announced a huge investment in the construction of a facility in the UK to make jet biofuel from waste. And it has a very challenging goal to make up 2% of all fuel demand in the London airport. The technology that's going to be used there is the Fischer-Tropsch method. That is the most widely used method to make the conversion of biomass into biofuel. This method is not efficient, though, especially in industrial scale production. Why? Because firstly, it requires huge investments to construct the facility and to run the process. And second, it works very well for materials that have a very consistent composition, like natural gas and coal. In the case of biomass, like sugarcane or municipal solid waste, it can yield a very unexpected products and results since those materials are made from a variety of components. For this reason, the Bioway project, our project, came up with a new method to replace the conventional Fischer-Tropsch method. And our method is innovative, cheap, and efficient. We identified that Abingoa and Emery's, that are two companies from the bioenergy sector, they have technologies that can be merged to create a single process to make the conversion of municipal solid waste into jet biofuel. So here is an overview of our process. Everything starts with the collection of municipal solid waste from the cities by the public services. The waste is then taken to a facility where pretreatment and classification processes are carried out in order to split up the waste into the many components it is made up of, like plastics, combustibles, recyclables, and organics. The organic portion that corresponds approximately to 60% of all waste collected undergoes a hydrolysis process to produce the sugar, and then the sugar goes through a fermentation to produce C5 hydrocarbon molecule. That is a very versatile molecule that can be used to produce beauty products, anti-malaria drug, and of course, jet biofuel. However, to produce jet biofuel, the C5 hydrocarbon molecules have to be put together through an oligomerization process to produce C10 and C15 jet components that are going to be used to produce a drop-in jet biofuel. The remaining products from the fermentation as well as the combustible part of the municipal solid waste can be used for energy restoration. That means that they can supply energy to run all this process in the refinery. So this is our process. In the first portion, we have a bingo process from the waste pretreatment to the sugar production. And from the fermentation to the C10 and C15 jet components production, we have Emery's process. Both processes have already been used separately, and they proved to be very efficient in industrial scale production. Emery's and Amingoa are going to be partners with the Bioway project, and they are going to provide all the necessary technology and training to run all this process. So as Diogo mentioned, we have an implementation planning that is divided into 3 phases. So the first phase is the construction and operation of a pilot plant within the 3 years of the Bioway project. It'll be constructed in the city of Belém, Brazil, and it'll have a production capacity of 950 gallons of jet biofuel per year that will supply samples for lab tests. The next two phases will be launched only after 2017. But since the ultimate goal of the Bioway project is to encourage the green aviation industry, we thought that would be important to account for them in our plans. That being said, the demonstration plant will be constructed and you have a production capacity of 42,000 gallons of jet biofuel per year. And a commercial plant will be constructed afterwards in the phase 3, and you have a production capacity of 4.8 million of gallons of jet biofuel per year. There is supply fuel for the international airport of Berlin that has an average number of commercial takeoffs of 11,000 per year and an average fuel consumption of 88 million of gallons of fuel per year. The amount of fuel that's going to be produced in the commercial plant will be able to produce drop-in jet biofuel that will make up approximately 55% of all fuel demand in that airport. And of course, to run all this process, we need a very good logistics planning. And Roberto is going to talk next about it.
Thanks, Mateus. Awesome explanation, man. Here's our secret weapon. So, to run this process, we need a really good logistics. And in the first phase, we need to get the biofuel we need to get the waste from the landfill and bring it to our plant. After that, take our biofuel and take it to the UFPA, Federal University of Pará, to run some tests. In the second and third phase, take this ready biofuel to the blend site and then to the airport. So to do it, we got in black here in this map. Here will be our plant site. In red, we got our landfill. It's about 30 minutes by truck. We got our waste, bring it to our plant site, make biofuel. And now what to do? Get this biofuel, take it to the UFPA, run our tests. It's about 30 minutes by truck, very easy track to do. Run the tests. This is for our first phase. Now we got a good biofuel, we're gonna make the second and third phase. We're gonna use this river, Guamá River, by ship, transport our biofuel to the blend site here in blue. After that, this is the airport in green. So everything's very near from our plant site. This is a cheap logistics, nothing's far, and this is how we will run it. And what will happen here in Federal University of Pará? Our research and development. This Luis is going to talk about it.
So thank you, Roberto. Research and development is a very important part of our project because Bioway is proposing a new method for producing jet biofuel. Verifying if the fuel meets international standards and also the results of possible optimization processes is very important. To do so, Bioway will need equipped laboratories and well-trained personnel. Everything will start with the technology transfer between Abengoa and Amiris to Bioway. And this will allow us to accomplish all of our objectives. Two of those main objectives are engaging the local community with an idea of sustainable environment and also to improve the economic scenario of the region. And to solve this laboratory issue, there is no better solution than a partnership with UFPA, Federal University of Pará. UFPA has a solid experience in biofuels with two main research centers, Laos, Separation Operations Laboratory, and ITEC, Institute of Technology. Those two research centers, they are related to food engineering department and also chemistry school. Bioway will provide all the equipment necessary for performing the fuel analysis and also the training for the laboratory personnel. Now a little bit about the budget of the project. So we are planning to spend about $40 million From then, 30 will be used on the construction of the pilot plant, and this is the average value that we found that Abengoa and Amiris used on their pilot plants. 1 million will be spent in logistics, mainly transportation. 2 millions will be spent on the program Cidade Limpa, Cidade Bonita. 3 millions on the program Do Lixo para a Vida. And 4 millions on research and development, which includes training, scholarships, equipment, and research funds. Now, Bruno is going to talk, oh, sorry, I forgot something. Yeah, the cost share. Some of our stakeholders agreed to support the project with 20% of the total project cost. Boeing and Embraer are providing each 8% of the total cost of the project. Gol Linhas Aéreas Inteligentes will provide 4%. And we estimate that the technology transferred from Bengoa and Amiris to Bioway represents about 20% of the total project cost. Now, Bruno is going to talk about the schedule of the project.
Thank you, Luis. So this is the timeline of our project. As you can see, this image shows the amount of time that each phase of our project will take. So the first phase of our project is the pilot plant. As you can see, the pilot plant will be constructed in 1 year before it starts to operate. And during the operation of the pilot plant, the demonstration plant will be under construction. And the same thing will happen in the transition to the phase 3. That is, during the operation of the demonstration plant, the commercial plant will be under construction. So the last part of our timeline is the research and social programs. And as you can see, the programs Do Lixo para a Vida and the research and development programs will be in operation during all 3 phases of our project, since they require a long time to be completed. On the other hand, the program Cidade Limpa, Cidade Bonita will be done in 2019 after the completion of the improvements in the infrastructure of the city of Belém. Now, Roberto is going to talk about our outcomes and going to conclude our...
Hello again. So, as outcomes and impacts for our project, we got improvements in the social and the economic and environmental areas. In accordance to achieve sustainability. So we're gonna improve the quality of life for the people working in the landfill, generating new job opportunities. We're gonna extinct the child labor. Environmentally talking about, we can say that we're gonna find a destination to the waste. Social, we're gonna improve the work conditions, generate new jobs. Economic, we're gonna cause a warm up in the local economy, and we're gonna drop the jet fuel prices. So we're gonna make the people work with us. We're gonna improve Belém. We're gonna make them believe that they can be a part of a sustainable world. To conclude our project, we just presented here an alternative to a jet fossil fuel, cheap to produce, renewable, and abundant. So, in addition to that, we are improving Belém in 3 sectors: social, economic, and environmental. Our project is based on get waste and make it biofuel. It can be applied in any big city like Belém, even in a global scale. We can say that Bioway is the future. We are sure that sustainability is the next destination. Thank you, guys. Any questions for us? Any questions? Anybody still alive?
Yes, I'm alive, thank you. Could you explain a little bit more about the social programs, how you will actually implement those and get them out into the affected communities.
Sure. You're going to talk about that?
Okay, so we have two social programs. The first one is Do Lixo para a Vida, From Waste to Life, which refers to the population that work on the landfill. We find out that this landfill is the main outcome for the main income for these families. They work collecting the waste and selling them to recyclable refiners. So it wouldn't be fair to them to take off this income from them. So what we're gonna do, and since they have children working, they are not going to school, we're gonna give them scholarships for their children to extinct the child labor, as you saw. And we're also gonna give the population, the population that work there, the people that work there, we're gonna give them professional training so they can work in other areas and also so they can work with us when we have our commercial refineries. Because we'll have a lot of jobs there in the commercial. It's gonna be a big commercial refinery. So they're gonna be working with us in that phase. And on the second social program, which is the Cidade Limpa, Cidade Bonita, we found out that Belém's population is not used to separate the waste in their houses, which makes difficult for the landfill to separate. So if they can separate the waste in their houses, it will be easier to separate when we have to build the biofuel, make the biofuel. So we're gonna give them lectures, we're gonna give them workshops on how to separate, how to handle, what is the importance of separating, what is the impacts, the environmental impact, economic impacts, and social impacts that they will have if they do this. Also, the public roads infrastructure in Belém is not very good, and the collecting trucks cannot access the suburban area and many parts of the downtown area. So the waste remains in the streets for many days before it's collected to the landfill. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna improve the infrastructure, the logistics in the city so the waste can be better collected. Thank you. Any more questions? So thank you, everyone, for your patience. Thank you, panel. Thank you, Melissa. It's been great.